What's up, everybody? How we doing? Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you my favorite DFS plays for Christmas Eve football. So I have up the OddsJam screen here to find some awesome DFS plays for the NFL Christmas Eve. DFS companies that I am looking at are going to be Monkey Knife Fight, PrizePicks, and Underdog. So using the OddsJam screen to find these DFS plays is really cool because the way the OddsJam screen works, you pick a market. In this case, I have up player passing yards, and it pulls up every single sports book and where they price that market at, right? And for these DFS companies, you have the same implied odds for every single play. So it doesn't matter if the sportsbook deems it likely or not. PrizePicks, Underdog, Monkey Knife Fight, giving you the same exact odds. So every single two-leg parlay, two-leg entry is going to be plus 200 odds. Now, every other sportsbook, they're going to price their markets individually based on how likely they think that bet is to occur, right? The actual sportsbooks themselves. So we can use those sportsbooks to take advantage of mispriced lines on these DFS companies because we're not getting charged any extra juice based on how likely the bet is to hit. Now, here's a perfect example. Justin Fields passing yards. It's incredibly low. It's going to be a cold game in Bills versus Bears. It's incredibly low passing yard, right? We see odds range from 133.5, 130.5, up to 138.5. Taking out the three DFS companies, we can see sports books like the OddsJam line, and this is important because the OddsJam line is the most accurate sports book in terms of pricing odds. Look how heavily they juice Justin Fields' under. They price that at minus 150. So because Pinnacle Sportsbook, which is where the OddsJam line's pulled from, because Pinnacle Sportsbook, obviously they look at each market, each play individually, and then assigns odds to it. Because they think it's incredibly likely that Justin Fields goes under 134.5 passing yards, they're making you pay a significant amount of money for that under, minus 150 odds. That means you have to risk $150 to profit $100. Look at where the DFS companies price it. Monkey Knife Fight prices it at exactly 134.5. I'd probably sit that one out, but PrizePicks, but Underdog, they price it above the Pinnacle amount. So in terms of my favorite DFS plays, here's one. Justin Fields under his passing yardage prop, under 138.5 at Underdog, under 135.5 at PrizePicks. I probably sit it out at 134.5. I know it's just 1 yard difference, but over the course of time, those 1 yards, those 1 points become extremely valuable. So wherever you can find an edge, you should take advantage of it. And here we have an edge. So I hope that logic makes sense. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to hit me up, contact at oddsjam.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Jedi Modi, JEDI MODI. It's my name, Matt Modi, just with the Jedi part in it. So that's kind of the perfect example of why the OddsJam screen is so valuable and how it's such a good tool to find DFS plays. And this, the first one, Justin Fields under his passing yardage prop. So one I skipped that I do like, Andy Dalton to go under his passing yardage prop as well. I only like it on Underdog. So we see, and this kind of also highlights the example, the reason, a couple reasons. Number one, why you should have multiple platforms. Underdog has it at 141. PrizePicks has it at 135. Monkey Knife Fight has it at 134. They all price it differently. It's the same thing with the Justin Fields one, just the Andy Dalton one's a little more aggressive in terms of the difference. And it's also another example why line shopping is so important, right? Underdog has it at 141.5. The closest book has it at 138.5, including the OddsJam line, which prices it at 138.5. And they, again, favor it going under. They don't juice it. They don't juice the under as aggressively as the Justin Fields one, but they still favor it going under, and it's still 3 yards lower than what we got it at. So another really good player prop DFS play, and this one is only for Underdog. Andy Dalton under 141.5 passing yards. So you can really find some good value with these passing yardage props. That's kind of why I'm sticking to this market. Obviously, you want to make sure to check out receiving and rushing and all that good stuff as well. But you see the widest gaps with passing yards, obviously because the numbers are the highest. So you're going to see the widest gaps because the numbers are the highest. But Another strategy that I like to do with with these DFS platforms is middle. So Desmond Ridder, right? Rookie quarterback for the Falcons. Not that great. Also doesn't need to be that great. Look how low these yards are. Look at the difference between PrizePicks and Monkey Knife Fight, right? It's a 10-yard difference. Going from 135.5 to 140.5, that 10-yard difference, that's a huge deal. That's like 13 to 15%, depending on how you want to assign probabilities and stuff. Like, he's not going to go with 0 yards. He's not going to end with 0 unless he gets hurt or something. So that 10-yard gap is a huge deal. So one strategy that I like to do, I like to middle these platforms, right? Take the under 145.5 on Monkey Knife Fight, take the over on PrizePicks, and there's a 10 to 15% chance that you hit both of these. So middling is another really, really good strategy, right? If he lands at 136 to 145, you hit both. And both of them are good plays individually as well. The Pinnacle line prices this at 142.5, so it's definitely a better play if you don't want to middle it, right? You don't want to risk it. You just want to take one. It's a better play on PrizePicks, right? PrizePicks has it at 135.5. Pinnacle has it 7 yards higher at 142.5, and they favor it going over. So if you just wanted to choose one, the PrizePicks one, like I said, is the better play. But I do think that middling is a very effective strategy. If you hit both, then you're really sitting pretty. So this is another good one, this Desmond Ridder one. I would sit out Underdog. It's kind of in the middle at 141.5. I don't think there's a good enough value there on Underdog Fantasy, but it's really good on Monkey Knife Fight, taking the under. And it's even better on PrizePicks, taking the over. So those are a couple more. I think that's like 6 if you count every single play or every single play on every single platform individually. I think that's 6. I think that's 3 just player passing yards in general. Another really good one, Deshaun Watson, the ultimately fadeable Deshaun Watson, under 150.5 passing yards at Underdog. So again, they price it at 150, as does BetMGM. Every other book prices it lower than this amount, including Pinnacle, which prices it at 147.5, as this does a refresh. So this page is refreshes every so often to make sure that the lines are constantly accurate. His under 147.5. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a sec. It's priced at minus 132, so it's 3 yards lower than the Underdog line. And again, they're heavily favoring it going under. Heavily favoring it going under. So here's another really, really good play. It's only good on Underdog, and then obviously if you're betting it on like a normal sports book, take the under on PointsBet and BetMGM. Also really good plays. It seems like the unders are the play here tonight. It looks like these DFS companies haven't updated their lines quickly enough to reflect the impending doom, which is the weather. So I think that does make sense. Like the sharp sports books, the actual sports books are reflecting that, are updating. Some of the DFS ones are not. And here's another really good under on Underdog Fantasy. Tyler Huntley under 170.5 passing yards. Similar logic here. I know I'm kind of repeating the same stuff, but these are really good plays, so I don't need to explain it every single time, but I just want to kind of show you the stuff that I'm looking out for. Tyler Huntley at 170.5 passing yards. Pinnacle prices it at 167, and again, they're heavily favoring it going under. They have the underpriced at minus 133, the overpriced at plus 101, heavily favoring it going under. And then another good play that we have here. So here we're finally taking an over. It's again on Underdog. It's Daniel Jones over 220.5 passing yards. So for whatever reason, Underdog seems to have the worst lines here. So I seem to have the biggest parlay on Underdog specifically. Over 220.5 passing yards. Pinnacle prices it at 227, and the closest book looks like it's 223, with the majority at 227, 228. So that's another really good play. And then the last one that I'll talk about here is Jared Goff under 2. Again, this is only on Underdog. Another good middle opportunity. It's not as good, so I'm going to stick with just the Underdog one. Under 243.5 passing yards. So again, this is at Underdog Fantasy. Pinnacle, sharpest sportsbook in the world, prices it 2 yards lower, and they heavily favor it going under. I think of all of the props that I've looked at, I think this is the heaviest favorite in terms of the odds. They have the under at -146, the over at +111. They're really, really heavily favoring it going under. So here's another good one, Jared Goff. And actually, my last one, if the odds are still available, is this Dak Prescott. Let's see if they changed it. So this one is specific to Monkey Knife Fight, is Dak Prescott. It's also a good play on, yeah, it's good. So actually, this is Monkey Knife Fight and Underdog Fantasy. Dak Prescott under his passing yardage prop. So Monkey Knife Fight has the worst odds, the wildest odds, at 255.5. Pinnacle prices it at 242.5. So it's 13 yards lower. And again, they're heavily favoring it, going under, heavily favoring it at -141 towards the under. So this is a good play both on Monkey Knife Fight and Underdog Fantasy. And that is going to be my last play. I knew I had another really good one left. So I think I lost count. 5, 6, 7, a bunch of different plays for you guys to lock in across these DFS platforms. So if you're tailing all of these, any of these, comment and let me know. Other than that, like I said, hit me up with any questions. Contact at oddsjam.com or on Twitter, Jedi Modai. It's a Star Wars nickname. But that's it. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.